All right. How's everyone doing? Thank you all so much for joining us for tonight's live stream. This is the third of our music and technology showcases for the fall and spring 2021 and 2022 school year. My name is Rebecca Haviland. I am the co-head of undergraduate studio composition studies at Purchase College Conservatory of Music. And tonight's showcase is really, really special. Tonight, we are going to be showcasing our students that are interested in film scoring. And for those of you who don't know about the cool stuff that we do in our music and technology department, our students do so many different kinds of music as part of their compositions, as part of what they want to pursue in their careers. And that can include things like production, songwriting, engineering, mastering, orchestration, film scoring, video game music, as well as being an artist and composition and live performance. So tonight's showcase is going to feature two of our studio composition students who have composed original music for film, some in collaboration with other students at Purchase College. So before we get started tonight, I really just want to say thank you to a couple of people, and that includes Jenny Underkoffler, the director of the Music Conservatory, who's always been so supportive of our music and technology department and new initiatives like this showcase. And then I also want to thank Peter Denenberg, the chair of our music and technology department, as well as all of our studio composition and production professors who have worked diligently with our students this semester, including the two that you're going to be seeing work from tonight. And lastly, Edward Rosensteel, the production coordinator, for all of his assistance with promoting and coordinating these events. But most importantly, I want to thank our students for all of their hard work this semester and seeking out collaborative opportunities at Purchase College. It's such a wonderful thing to be taking advantage of in a college setting and then to be continuing on with as they pursue their careers. So to start off things this evening, I have chosen a veteran of our Music and Technology Festival showcases. And that veteran is undergraduate studio composition major, Jagger Clark. Jagger, what's going on?
Hello, thank you for having me. Always a
Thank
pleasure.
you so much for being here. And I feel like for those of you who haven't seen the music and technology showcases before, you should go back and watch them all because I feel like, Jagger, you've been in every single one that we've done.
I think all but one, which is a live one.
Yes, which we will hopefully do this live and live stream this showcase next year. That is my vision. But yes, so we've gotten to see pieces of this really long form project that you've been working on. So could you tell us a little bit about what we're going to see tonight?
Sure thing. So this video pertains to this whole story I've created, this fantastical world that I've named The Fallen King, which is based off of a book that is I'm currently in the midst of going through, editing, fine tuning it, all the works. And this particular video, I'm going to somewhat be a little vague because there's a little bit of a surprise. Is simply a lullaby that a mother is singing to her daughter by the coastline, enjoying the view all the while. Um, and we all love lullabies. No one looks into the words. Sometimes they can be a little misleading with their very
Yes.
gentle nature.
All
But
right.
yeah.
Well, so I know that you've been collaborating with the same artist for these, and who is that? And then there's some additional collaborators as well on this piece.
Indeed. The artist I work with is Paige Monte. Her Instagram, if you want to find her, is PM. That's M as in Mike underscore animation. She's a wonderful artist who does all my artwork. I send her all these ideas, me being particular, as nitpicky as possible, and she has the patience to work with me and work with my nitpickiness, which is amazing because it helps bring this story to life.
Yeah.
And this video is my first time I've worked with vocalists before and working with audio. Two students actually in the studio composition program, Lilia Davidson, and I might butcher his last name, so apologies in advance. Johnny Calabrese, I believe, who are
Wonderful.
both amazing to work with. The process was so smooth with them, and they were super patient with me since it was also my first time recording live vocals. So it overall worked out very well in the end.
Nice. Well, so what this is your first time featuring vocalists and lyrics, I believe, in this series. So what made you choose to do that this time around?
I felt like with this piece, a lot of them, as you said, are very just instrumental, and I felt like the instrumentals were able to convey the emotions, the dialogue I had in just text, etc. But with a lullaby of this kind of magnitude, I really wanted to convey the emotions that people felt. And though instruments do a great job, nothing I feel can really beat human emotion in singing. You go to Broadway, you go to see all these movies, and what kills you is not so much just the words they're saying, but the way they're presenting it. And I feel like I really, really needed that. And Lilia and Johnny delivered, I feel.
I mean, I've heard this already and I agree. So I'm sure everyone will agree once we play this. But you know, one question I've always wanted to ask you is who influences you as a film composer?
As a there's a lot of people I could mention, but I feel like the top two, I feel like many people already know these people. The top two I have to say is Hans Zimmer and John Williams. Hans Zimmer doing movies such as like Pirates of the Caribbean, John Williams, the likes of Star Wars. And both of their music are very have a very special place in my heart. Besides this, I love the movies that they do. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like one thing with movies is that music makes the movie in a lot of ways. If you ever watch the movie Schindler's List, I cry every time John
Yeah.
Williams plays like the theme comes on. I cry.
Mm-hmm.
And though this movie's very sad in general, it just adds an extra punch, and I really, really admire that ability to do. Of course, there's hundreds upon thousands of other film scores, but I feel like those two really they're heavy hitters, and for a good reason. And as far as like the story goes, because film scoring and story, though they work together, story wise, I've been influenced all my life. I mean, I have played video games, I have watched movies, and I wish I could say there's like a single one that really knocked it out of the park for me. I feel like this is just a culmination. Thanks to the internet, you can see so many different things at once. And I think all these beautiful, amazing ideas is kind of like I took inspiration in little pieces of each and every one and tried to see if I can join the fray.
Well, and I was going to say there is a bit of a video game element to this series as well. So, is there a video game or a couple that you found influential when putting the series together?
Um, that's a good question. I feel like with this direct story, I can't put a single video game on it, but I know what set me on the whole path of this imagination that I try and come up with
Mm-hmm.
was ironically a Mario video
Oh,
game
wow.
that I used to play on my, Nintendo Wii all of the time. I would even go as far as dressing up for it when I was a kid to just fit the vocals because there was no vocals, all text, and I would try and, like,
Mm-hmm.
pretend, and I
Yeah.
feel like that set things off.
Cool. Well, so what's next for you? I know this has been an ongoing project. Are there still more components to this series?
There are plenty more to come. Actually, there's one I almost have ready to release as
Oh,
well,
cool.
which will be a little more I say a lot more actiony than this one.
Okay.
That I'm hoping to release within the next week or two. And
And
I'm also working hard on the book. I feel like
mhm.
having actually at first my priority was getting the book out, but
Okay.
I feel like almost having the music progressively telling some of the stories, then have the book come out at a later date, I feel like might have a little bit more impact as people be like, oh, I recognize this, I know this, etc. And also to build an audience as well.
Yeah. And so people can check this out on your YouTube page, correct?
My YouTube page, and there we go, I did it right. Oh, almost. Everything will be on my website here at jaggercodyclark.com, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and along with information of what the story is, and little tidbits of information to each. It also has links to each and every YouTube video as well.
Okay. And then lastly, I know you've been working on some projects that aren't this series. You've been working on some other films and things like that. Could you tell us a little bit about one of those?
Absolutely. I'm currently working on this is a big thrill because fingers crossed all works out. I'm currently working with someone who actually graduated from Purchase, a film director who is working on a trailer right now to be presenting to a friend of hers who is a Netflix producer.
Oh,
and
wow.
she's asked me to do the music for it, and I am absolutely honored to be doing so. And if all goes well, hopefully Netflix, if you don't mind, will give us a call one day. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
That would be wonderful. Are you, willing to share the name of the, director? Wanna keep
I
it secret for now? You can if this is like a
Well, I feel like I could share her name. I feel like maybe keeping the project under wraps for now because 'cause I'm not sure how vocal she wants to be about it
okay.
at the moment, but, her name is Emma Keating. I
Okay.
do wish I had some socials or something like that to give.
Well,
Unfortunately,
we'll just have to keep an eye out for it when the project gets finished and then premiered, hopefully. And people can check that out on your website and then also your socials, which can be found on your website, correct?
absolutely, absolutely.
Great. All right, wonderful. Well, Jagger, thank you so much. And I'm glad we got to do a little bit longer of an interview today, learn a little bit more about what we're going to check out. So let's get to some viewing. See if I click all the windows correctly. Here we go. Let the ocean calm your heart. Let the stars guide your path. The dark sky is your load. The day of light is your blanket. In them let your soul reside. They will be by your side to light the way and darken the hate. Your heart will be their gate. If you feel small, try to stand tall. No one shall hurt you, and we will be here. Please don't fear, my dear. Calm yourself to this lullaby.
My dear, my star, wherever you are, my heart leads me where you should be. So let darkness rise and light burn bright. I wish I did what was right. The moon has faded, the sun has fallen. Now I stand all alone. This was not meant to be. I wish I could remedy this chaotic world I see. My dear, my star, wherever you are, your time was far too soon for you. Your father does love you, always will. I hope to see you again.
All right. Thank you so much, Jagger, for another really engaging film and score in your series. And just to remind everyone, Jagger is going to be in the comments section. So if you have any questions about Jagger's work, please feel free to comment away on YouTube and Facebook. And Jagger will be there as well to share his socials. So wonderful. All right. Well, our final presenter this evening is a studio composition graduate student who is also a veteran to our film showcasing here in the Music and Technology Festival Showcase Series. So I'd like to invite Mara Keane to come hang and do a little interview with us. Mara, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. It's been such a pleasure, as I said to Jagger, having students like you and Jagger that are constantly creating new work and inspired, and also want to be showcasing that work as well. So thank you again. Mara, I heard earlier when we were talking that you are graduating.
Yeah, so I will be graduating next month, which is kind of crazy because my whole degree ended up being online with COVID and everything, so that's kind of crazy.
Yes.
But I'm happy about it. I was really afraid to graduate for a long time, but finally some things are starting to come together, so I do feel much better about it now. But I don't know if I should talk about that now or wait till the end about my next steps.
Yeah, we'll come back around to that because, yeah, I definitely want to know a little bit about the work that we're going to be checking out tonight. So why don't we start there?
Yeah, so the film that you're gonna see, it was my contest entry for the Score the World 2022 contest. I believe it's their third contest. It's a fairly new thing that they've been doing. But if you haven't and you're interested in film scoring and you're looking to enter contests, I highly recommend Score the World. And I believe a portion of what you pay to enter goes back to charity. It's a really, really great contest. But so the film, it's titled Like and Follow, and it's kind of it's a comedic piece. It's about this boy who's on his phone, and he can't really see the world around him, and then these kind of like little droplets of things pop up here and there that kind of take him back into real life. But then there's kind of a twist at the end that I won't spoil. That's kind of funny, and that's where the music changes. But the score for it is very instrumental, orchestral style, very your typical like light comedic work, which we can kind of hear with like the pizzicato strings and like the glockenspiel and all these typical like comedic elements for a score.
Yeah, and so that was actually my next question is what compositional and arranging choices did you choose to express the comedic atmosphere in the score? So instrument-wise, those definitely helped, having heard this before. But what arrangement choices and things like that did you choose to do?
Yeah, so I kind of started out with just a standard orchestra and kind of worked from there. I know, so this is actually something I've been working on a lot this semester, is getting better at writing for comedies, because it can be kind of tough because you don't want something that's too overdone, that's like telling the audience like, okay, you need to laugh now, because that's not our job as composers. We're trying to just emphasize what's going on in the story but not tell people how to feel. So that was kind of a balance that I was trying to do. So pretty much I just took the knowledge that I had learned with mainly choosing pizzicato strings for a lot of it. But I will say at the end, it kind of switches. I don't want to give it away because it is kind of funny.
Okay.
But yeah, it does change towards the end.
Cool. Well, so like when getting started on a score, even this one, for example, what are your first steps?
Yeah, so I guess the very first thing would be to come up with a sound palette. I would definitely start from there because it kind of be overwhelming to do anything else. And when I say sound palette, for anyone watching who's kind of interested, a sound palette is basically like a certain like kind of sound like you're looking for. Like, do I want orchestral instruments? Do I want simply electronic? Do I want a blend of both? Is this maybe a chamber piece type of music? And so I kind of came up from there. I knew that it was going to be comedic. Okay, I need certain comedic orchestral instruments that I need to have here. And then from after coming up with the sound palette, this is what I did, and I think it's like one of also the most important steps is just kind of marking out in the film what beats really need to be hit, what parts really need to be emphasized, and then going from there, just kind of coming up with a melody, trying things, erasing things, and eventually it kind of just comes together. I usually start off with something and I hate it, and I do it a few times, and then eventually I'm like, oh, you know what, this sounds okay. And that's kind of where I am.
Well, that ability to edit yourself though is so important, I would imagine, in film scoring, right? Like you have to go back and revise.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, so, when did you get started composing for films? What made you decide this is something that you just had to do in life?
Yeah, so I always wanted to do music. I kind of joke. I've told this joke a bunch of times, so anyone listening that's heard this before, I'm sorry. But um, when I was younger, like some people, they're raised to be doctors and lawyers. I was actually the complete opposite. My parents were like, "You're going to be a musician," which is like very rare. And it's
I love your parents. That's awesome.
and so yeah, I always just kind of knew. And it was funny because my piano teacher, I remember when I was applying for colleges, she was like, "This is what you want to do, right?" And I was like, yeah, I mean, yeah, what else? But I decided on film scoring when I visited Berkeley in the 11th grade. No, actually, yeah, I think it was 11th grade. And I was touring different schools, and when I was there, that was the first time I had actually heard of like film scoring.
Mhm.
And obviously, like I've seen movies and I've heard the music to movies before, but I
Yeah.
just guess I just never really thought about it before then. And then when they were discussing it, I thought, wow, this is exactly what I want to do. But even then, I knew that I needed more of a classical background so that I could learn how
Mhm.
to do the theory side of things.
Yeah.
And so I got my bachelor's in classical composition from George Mason, and then that led me to purchase for my master's, which I'm finishing up now, in studio composition. Because for me personally, I'm not saying this is how it has to go, but just for me personally, I really needed to understand the classical side of things in order to fully be able to orchestrate and get a good grip on the electronic side of things. So for me, that definitely helped. And going to purchase helped me a lot because it just pieced so many things together and it taught me how to use all these softwares. And honestly, this was like the best decision I ever made because now I know how to actually do things. So it worked out
Well,
well.
thank you, Mara. You're being quite the salesperson right now. I did not ask you to say any of those things, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
No, and I'm glad that you've had an opportunity to study closely with Alba Tormoka, our film scoring professor here, and I've been it's been so wonderful to see your progression. You've always been a
Yeah,
fantastic.
thank you so much.
Yeah, you've been a fantastic film scorer, but to see your growth over the few semesters has really been wonderful. So, well, let's come full circle. Tell us what is on the horizon for you since you will be graduating soon.
Yeah, so one recent thing that happened that's kind of led me into my next thing. I recently won the Suny Thayer Fellowship Award. Also with the help of you. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you so much. And thank you to you for writing me a letter of
Very welcome.
recommendation. And also to Alba. She helped me with everything too. She also wrote me a letter, and I've been studying under her for the last two years. Yeah, the entire 2 years. And so big thank you to that. And so yeah, so I recently won that, and I mentioned that into my next thing because I feel like doing that has given me a lot more confidence musically than I had before. And so now the next thing I'm going to be doing is I got an internship with Earworm Music. And it's led by JP Rende and his wife, Kat Rende. And basically, I'm going to be working with them on stemming out sessions from Pro Tools. And they work on a lot of Netflix children's shows like Baby Shark. I don't know why I can't think of the other ones at this very
Well, and
moment. But it's a
JP
lot of-
and Kat are also Purchase Studio Composition alum.
Yes,
And
yes,
I actually
yes.
went to college with both of them
Oh, cool.
at Purchase. So yeah,
Okay, very nice.
they're wonderful, very talented, and you'll be a great asset to them and also be able to learn quite a few things as well.
Yeah, I'm really really happy about it. It just thank God. So I'm happy.
Well, I'm sure it's the first of many awesome things that are going to be happening for you. So
Thank you
wonderful.
so much.
Well, Mara, where can everyone keep up to date about your post-college happenings?
Yeah, so I will post a link in the chat, but I have my website. It's marakenemusic.com. It's currently up. You can look at it now, but there are some new things I need to add to it.
Okay.
But definitely there. You can find me on Facebook at Mara Keane or my YouTube channel, which is also Mara Keane Music. But the website will pretty much lead you anywhere, so that's kind of the go-to.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Let's check out your film that you have for us
Yeah,
today.
thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mara. That was so much fun. And I, forgot to have Mara mention that she did place in the top 100 for this competition out of what was last year almost 1,000 applicants. So I would assume that this year's is probably close to the same. So that's quite the accomplishment, and we're very proud of Mara. So thank you again. And thank you both, Jagger and Mara, for hanging tonight and taking the time to answer some questions and showcase your works. We're very proud of you and proud of all of our students who worked so hard these past few semesters. And I can't wait until next year's showcase series, where we're hopefully going to be doing all of this again. Our first showcase you can view on YouTube, which was in fall 2021. We did a live showcase in collaboration with the Newburgh Museum, which I will be premiering some footage from that over the summer. And then this is our third. So wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody. If anyone ever has any questions about the studio composition and studio production programs at Purchase College, please feel free to email me at rebecca.haviland@purchase.edu. And I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. And please stop by the program, say hey. We're happy to give a tour as well. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you for the next season in fall 2022.